Welcome back to In Vino Veritas Season 3. This season, we have some exciting new programs for you, including a visit to Chile in South America, where we see the influence of Europe and European winemaking that spread so far around the world. But it's not just Chile that we explore. We talk to winemakers from Japan and India to ask them what they think was the influence that they've received, the benefits that they've gotten from all the European classic wines and winemaking styles. And vice versa, we also talk to French winemakers to see how they feel about the emerging regions and the emerging wine styles and how it impacts them. We also can't miss food and wine pairing. I send Chef Nicolas Boutin on a mission to France to try to pair 6 classic traditional French wines, using his creativity and imagination to create the perfect pairing. Welcome back to In Vino Veritas.
1985 Krug Clos de Menil is a legendary wine, not just because at 31 years of age, it's aged so beautifully. With amazing biscuity notes, honey, floral notes, as well as an amazing length and an intensity that really shows how well champagnes can age. Krug is a very popular but also a unique champagne producer that was founded in 1843 with the idea of making only quality champagne, even for its non-vintage. A Clos de Menil, Clos, which stands for walled area, is a high-walled vineyard in a very special part of Champagne, producing 100% Chardonnay. Krug Clos de Menil is definitely a champagne that is a must-have in all collectors' cellars. Welcome to Chile. This is a brave new world that borrows from the old and combines it with the latest understanding of viticulture and winemaking to become a real pioneer. Come with me to discover a whole new region like Chile, where we're seeing unique wines with very distinctive flavors. And we'll see how this pioneer is shaping and changing the world of wine. And now there are over 200 wineries in Chile, producing some of the most exciting wines. You've got exotic Pinot Noir, crisp Sauvignon Blanc, and of course, the bold, complex Cabernet Sauvignon, for which the country is really well known for. And the Carmenere is also doing very well year after year. And these wines are representing some of the greatest value for money wines for anywhere in the world. Although Chile has been making wine for 500 years, its modern winemaking history actually begins in the last 30 years. And so our first stop in Chile is actually not to a winery, but to meet historian and professor Gonzalo Rojas. He's going to be with us today and tell us the story and the history of Chilean wine. Gonzalo, why did you bring me here?
Because this is my favorite place in Santiago.
Oh, okay. Why?
As you see, it's like travel through the different eras, the different times.
Uh-huh. And historically, Chile's had many different European influences. But if you were to pick one country's major influence on Chile, what would that be?
France.
So France has been the most impactful.
Yeah, for far.
By far?
By far.
Okay, even though the Spanish were here first.
Yes. 450 years ago, Spanish conquerors brought the first vines from Spain. The most important period was 150 years ago. Some businessmen and politics brought for France the first French vines, built the revolution of the Chilean modern wine industry.
And after that period then, what was the next most significant or important period in Chile's wine history?
Definitely 20 or 30 years ago.
That recently?
Yes. When some very, very important businessmen leadership the second revolution, when the Chilean wine becomes an international wine. So now we have the very important industry, very emblematic industry for the country, and the Chilean people, we are very proud of.
So having just met with Gonzalo Rojas, I think we have a better understanding of the history of winemaking in Chile and of the country as a whole. And so now I'm here at Unduraga, which is one of the largest and the most historic wineries in Chile, with over 130 years of history. But they're not just sitting on their laurels and making traditional style Chilean Carmenere and Cabernet Sauvignon. No, the whole group, especially in the last 10 years with the new ownership, has really made an investment to make sure that they actually take the tradition that they've been given of over 100 years of history to go and find old vine Carignan, old vines that have been lost in history, but resuscitating them, rejuvenating them to make styles under a new label called Terroir Hunter. So this is a winery that it really is embodying the history of Chile, but is bringing a new innovation and a new perspective to what Chile can produce now and for the future.
As you can see, Chile's wine industry is undergoing great development in recent years. Santa Carolina is a historical winery that is rediscovering traditions while making very modern wines. I was welcomed to this winery with a traditional Chilean dance. I'm in the middle of the winery in Santiago, one of the few wineries in Chile that actually has its winemaking center in the middle of the city. It's Santa Carolina. And next to me is this 140-year-old palm tree that's been around for as long as this winery. And for those of you who haven't heard of Santa Carolina, it's probably because you haven't actually enjoyed enough Chilean wine. They make 3 million cases a year, and they're one of the most innovative and exciting wineries. Come with me to discover how exciting this winery is going to be in the next coming 10 to 20 years.
Last year we were awarded the New World Winery of the Year, so it was a full year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great.
We are working hard, very hard in the wines, first thing, because that's what we love about this business. It's the wines. We work a lot in the research and development area, working on how the wines were done in Santa Carolina in the past. The main reason for that is that in 2010 we had an earthquake.
Yes.
And with the earthquake, we discovered some old wines of the company.
Mm-hmm. How old were they?
They were 1959, 62, 67, 76. They were all bottles of the company.
Right.
And
how do they taste?
Yeah, you will see them. Maybe I'm spoiling the surprise.
Okay.
But in a way, we saw that those wines were amazing. They were fantastic wines done in the past. Through these wines, we in a way we saw who we were in the past, and I think it was a good thing to find them because we can rediscover ourselves, and has inspired the style of the wines that we're thinking of producing in the future too.
For someone who is living in Hong Kong or in mainland China and they've never had Chilean wine before, what would be the wine you would recommend for them to start with?
I would say our entry-level range, Santa Carolina, varietal, straight varietal. I think it's a fantastic wine because they will find a very easy to drink wine, but they will see also a very good representative of the variety they are tasting. So if they're tasting a Cabernet, they will see what a Cabernet. After that, they could start growing in the varieties. The next step would be the Reserva, but they can have specific origins.
Yes.
So they can see difference in tastes. More complex wines, but with a specific origins. And after that, we have another range that it's the one that makes us very proud, is Reserva de Familia.
Yes.
The origin is it was the wine that the family kept from himself. That's what means Reserva.
So you kept the best for yourself.
Yes, that's for sure. We cannot do it anymore, but that range is the best Cabernets from Maipo. That wine, it's been produced for almost more than 100 years by now, and it could be the oldest wine produced from Chile, and it was already appreciated or well known in 1889. One of the things about Chile is that maybe as an opportunity for the future it could be blends, but usually we have straight varieties. We have Cabernet, so the consumer can grow in more and better quality for each variety.
Some French, in the 19th century, you have all the menus in the government were in French. So you have like a French influence for another hand. So it's like it's a blending of European influences with locals.
When you do the pairings then are you pairing usually ingredients with wines? What's your philosophy when you put the wines and food together?
I taste the wine first.
You taste the wine first?
I taste the wine first.
Okay.
And if I can talk with the winemaker, even better. And because doing wine is probably like to be a cook. You have, you do harvests, you have your juices, and then you have the blending, and there you go, you have something. So in this process, the winemaker wants to do something special, right? So I talk to them. I love to talk to winemakers because in a way, a dish designed for a specific wine is like a tribute of the work of the winemaker. So if I can talk to them, even better. But usually I tasted it with them or without them, and I tasted it, and it's a challenge when discovering what I can do as a bridge or either a contrast, you know, to do the wine pairing.
Which we never paid attention to. Absolutely. We have more than 700 kinds of seaweed. I feel there is a tool that humanity should be proud of.
Very much.